I'm going to turn now to the state. You may call your next witness.
Marian Lemmons.
The evidence you shall give the court and jury in the trial this issue, so you give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, self decide.
One more time for good measure.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you testified, feels like a long time ago now, about the defendant's October 5th interviews at Chatham County Police Headquarters, right?
Yes.
And over the course of that day, she disclosed 2 trips away from the residence on the night of October 4th, morning of October 5th.
Yes.
And on that day, what was the story as to the first trip, the earlier of the 2?
She described going to the Flacco's Tacos to meet up with a gentleman she knew as Red
To do what?
to pay back a drug front.
Over time, I guess by October 12th, in the interview with Special Agent Snyder and Special Agent Solomon that we watched more recently in time, did that story change?
Yes, it did.
How did it change?
It moved from meeting Red for a drug front at the Flacco's Tacos into meeting Red/Craig on Arkwright to buy cocaine and Percocets.
What do you mean by Red/Craig?
She told the interviewers that Red is Craig in that interview.
Okay, same person.
Yes.
Okay. As early as October 5th, you had thumbed through her phone, right?
Yes.
And on that day, did you at some point, did you see messages in her phone between her and a contact saved as Craig?
Correct.
When do you remember first seeing those messages?
I believe I mentioned them on October 5th to her.
Okay. And did you ask her a question about Craig that day?
I did.
What was the question that you asked her?
I think I asked her specifically who is Craig.
Did you ask her whether there was anything going? What did she say to that, if you remember?
I believe she referred to him as an older white male that was not Red.
And it was on the 12th that she said actually Craig and Red are the same person.
Yes.
And it's an African American gentleman, right?
Yes.
Okay. On the 5th, you had seen messages between her and a contact saved as Craig, right? Day
Yes.
1. And did you ask her whether there was anything sexual going on between the 2 of them?
Yes, I did.
And what did she say about that?
I believe in that specific interview, I don't fully remember what she said.
Okay. At some point in the investigation, did she deny that, though?
Yes, she did.
Okay. You later received a copy of her cell phone extraction, correct?
Yes.
And did you select and export from that cell phone extraction all of her communications with the contact saved as Craig?
Yes.
Do you see in front of you State's Exhibit 91?
Yes, I do.
Can you tell us what that is?
So this is an extraction report of all communications and anything that has to do with the user she has saved as Craig.
Your Honor, I would introduce this as State's Exhibit 91.
Any objection? No objection, Judge. Okay, it's admitted.
Now, does this exhibit show when she first saved Craig as a contact?
Yes, it does.
And what was that date?
On September 16th in 2022.
Okay, so that would have been how long before Quentin's disappearance? Like a little less than 3 weeks, maybe?
Correct.
Okay. In moving forward from that, is there a series of text message exchanges between the 2 of them leading up to October 4th?
Yes, text messages and phone calls.
Okay. And does this document include all of them?
Yes, it does.
Before we get into, reading individual ones and describing when they were sent and received and so forth, Let me just ask you, can you kind of summarize what these communications show as far as what was going on with the two of them, between the two of them during, say, late September, early October?
So pretty much from when Leilani saved Craig into her phone, it appears that they began a sexual relationship and were scheduling meetups to meet and have sexual intercourse
And where was it that they appeared to be meeting?
at his place of residence,
And where is that?
off of Arkwright.
Okay. On Arkwright Road,
Yes,
off of Highway 204?
yes,
Okay. And I think you testified earlier that you identified Craig as Craig Weston of Arkwright Road.
yes.
Okay. Let me draw your attention to a few of these and have you talk us through them, okay? Can you go to line 7?
Yes.
So this thing is like, we've had some of these bubble style exports. This is a table style, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. It's just a different way of pushing text messages out of the Cellbrite extraction.
Yes.
Okay. Line 7. Can you walk us through this message, including like the date and time and who sent it to whom and what it says?
Okay. So again, these are only from Craig and Leilani. So this one's from Craig saying WRY, which is commonly known as Where Are You, on September 25th at 2:24 a.m.
All right, so middle of the night.
Yeah.
All right. Line 8, can you just kind of walk through these
Sure.
from that one through line 16?
Okay. So the previous message was at 2:24 a.m. The next one is from Leilani at 2:25 that says, I'm home on Buckhalter. At 2:25 from Craig, hello. 2:26 a.m. from Leilani, I can come back out there. At 2:38 a.m. from Leilani, on the way. And then at 2:46 a.m., Leilani sends a video message. This is a thumbnail of the video that she sent, and it appears to be of a trailer from inside of a vehicle.
Now, you've been to Arkwright Road
I have,
and you've seen the structures out there?
yes.
Does this appear to show that she was present there at that time?
I believe it's the back part of Arkwright.
Okay. And that was at 2:46.
Correct.
So it looks like she's there at that point.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to line 13.
So at 2:48 a.m., Craig says, okay, 1 minute. And then it skips to 5:55 p.m., so several hours later.
That would be like 13 hours later or something
Yes.
like that? Okay.
Craig asked, you okay today? You man here.
And how did she respond to that?
At 6:54 p.m., she says, yeah, I'm okay. He's on his BS today, and I don't feel like arguing. And then in response, at 6:58 p.m., Craig says, okay, well, was thinking about you.
All right, so is that set of messages that we described, does that appear to be the first visit by the defendant to Craig that we see reflected in this set of messages at least?
That's correct.
Okay. Now, I'd like to go forward to line 62 on page 5.
Okay.
And if you could just do the same thing for 62 through 76. Go nice and slow with the times and everything.
Okay.
And
So this is on September 26th at 11:59 p.m. from Leilani. On the way now, be there in about 12 to 14 minutes. At 12:04 a.m., Craig initiates a phone call and they speak for 53 seconds. At 12:05 a.m., Craig says, okay. At 12:06 a.m., Craig says, okay, I'm in back to my camper. Stay close to your left. My dog gonna try eat your car, but he won.
And the next one?
At 12:16 a.m., Craig says hello. At 12:16 a.m., Leilani says, okay, I'm passing Quaco now. At 12:17 a.m., Leilani initiates a phone call for 19 seconds with Craig. And then at 12:21 a.m., Craig says, door open. Then skipping to 1:22 a.m., the previous was at 12:21, Leilani says, I'm home, I loved those hugs.
I'm home, I love those hugs.
Yep.
All right, so based on when she said she was passing Quaco Road on the way there, and when she says, I'm home, I love those hugs, roughly how long does it appear that she spent at Craig's place that night?
Roughly 45 minutes.
Okay. Moving on to line 41, when is this message sent in relation to the last one we just read?
Yep, so the last one was at 1:22, where she's saying, I'm home, I loved those hugs. The following message is from Craig at 1:26 a.m., and it says, okay, not more than I did. I was about to grab that kitty one time.
And what does she say to that?
In response, at 1:26, she said, LMFAO, you most definitely could have, exclamation point. And then at
Do you think people generally know what LMFAO means?
It's laugh my fucking ass off, in case you didn't.
No. All right. 73, what's that? What does that one say?
73 is at 1:29 a.m. from Craig. Shit, I sure wanted to, like I see how it looked, FR.
Try that one again, sorry. Read it slowly.
Yeah.
And before you do that, what date are we on?
9:27.
Early morning hours of September 27th. Okay, go ahead. With 73.
Yep. 73 at 1:29 a.m. Shit, I sure wanted to, like to see how it looked, FR.
What does FR mean?
For real.
Okay. How does the defendant respond to that in line 74?
So 74 at 1:36 a.m. is a response from Leilani sending a video message to Craig of herself masturbating.
75?
75 is at 1:38, so after the video message, Craig says, damn, you just made me hard as fuck, thank you.
And 76?
76 is at 1:39 a.m. from Leilani, well shit, I'm glad I did.
Moving on to 117. And this will be the last set that I'll ask you to read, okay? If you could take us through 117 through 131. Stop at 131, okay?
Okay. So it's on October 1st at 12:24 a.m. is the first message from Leilani. Dealing with Danny flipping his shit. As soon as I can leave here, I'll let you know. Craig responds at 12:34 a.m. K. And then at 1:14 a.m. from Craig, if you can't come out, it's okay. At 1:15 a.m. from Leilani, I'm about to head that way, just probably can only stay for a couple hours though, is that okay? Then at 1:22 a.m., Leilani says, heading to the car now. At 1:22 a.m., Leilani says, be there in about 20. At 1:25 a.m., Craig says, well, you want to park at rideshare.
What is rideshare?
It's pretty much just like an empty parking lot about a quarter mile from Arkwright. It's commonly known in that area as the rideshare.
Okay, go ahead.
At 1:26 a.m., Leilani says, yeah, I will. At 1:56 a.m., Leilani says, just pulled into the rideshare. At 2 a.m., they have a 2-second conversation over the phone. At 2 a.m., Craig says, 2 men, which is 2 minutes. And then at 2:01, Leilani says, okay.
All right, so per those messages, it looks like by shortly after 2 a.m. they would have been together then?
Yes.
Okay. And the next message, 129?
So that one is at 3:23 a.m. The previous was at 2:01. Craig's,
Almost like an hour and a half has passed or so.
yes,
Okay.
more than an hour. That was good as fuck. I'll take that anytime. FRI, no, I made you come for long time.
That was from Craig to the defendant.
Yes.
All right, the next message?
That one's at 3:56 a.m. from Leilani. I would be down to do that again anytime.
131?
At 3:56 a.m., Leilani says, and yes, you did for a good-ass min. And then the following message is at 11:59 p.m.,
So how much time has passed at this point?
well over 12 hours.
Okay, so this is like the next night.
Yes.
Okay.
What is the date now?
It is 10:01. So at 11:59, Craig says, you okay? On 10:02 at 9:02 a.m., Leilani says, yes, I'm okay. She then responds, about to drive over there actually. At 9:46 a.m., Craig responds, damn, you was tired, or I got rid of a lot of your stress. At 9:46, Craig says, LOL. At 9:47, Leilani says, a lot of stress was released. I need that sleep. At 9:54 a.m., Craig says, that's good shit. I was ready for round 2 last night, but it's okay. You needed that rest. You look well rested.
And then 140?
And then 140 is at 9:57 a.m. from Leilani. I'm still wiping the crust from my eyes.
All right. So these seem to show that over the week leading up to Quentin's disappearance that the defendant was getting male attention from Craig like 3-4 times, something like that.
It would appear so, yes.
One moment, please, Your Honor. No further questions.
Mr. Hilliard?
I do have a few by State's Exhibit 91, Judge. Detective Lemmons, let's talk about the text messages you didn't mention.
Okay.
Okay? I'll start on page 1. So the contact for Craig was added on September 16th, correct?
Yes.
That's the first time that this appears anywhere in here to the best of your knowledge and mine, correct?
Yes.
Right. Did you see anything to this number prior to that?
No.
Okay. So, on the first page, instant message 6, if you would, did Mr. Dean ask you to read that one?
No, he didn't.
Okay. What does that one say? And who's it from and who's it to?
On 9:25 at 2:23 a.m., Leilani says, I needed a 50, but no one was there.
What is a 50 commonly referred to as? Is that a drug slang?
I believe it's just a number.
I needed a 50, but no one was there?
I don't know what she was intending there. I mean, I can assume it's drug lingo, but what exactly it is, I don't know.
Okay, well, you seem to know what WRY meant, correct?
Yes,
And you're currently stationed at C&T, correct?
I am.
Okay, so using your experience and your knowledge as an agent over at the counter narcotics team, when someone says they need a 50, what are they commonly referring to?
Objection, asked and answered.
I'm going to allow Mr. Hilliard his line of questioning. Overruled.
Yep. So my understanding is almost everyone has their own drug knowledge. Usually when I don't know something, I'll ask one of the other agents there. So right now I don't know what she's referring to.
All right. So let's move on then. Look at go back and just start from the beginning with this. On page 3, line 26, who is that from and who is that to? And what does it say?
It is from Craig to Leilani, and it says, I'm going to be your first black guy, not that it matters.
And that was on September 26th.
Yes.
And at that point in time, that seems to imply at least that they had not done anything, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, and let's look at number 42. September 26th. Who's that from and who's that to and what time is that?
You said 42?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That one's from Leilani. Y'all got perks or anything like that?
What do you think was meant by perks?
Percocet.
And number 43, what was the reply?
From Craig, no, I'll check around.
Okay. And number 52 at the bottom right there, who's that from and who's that to?
That one is from Leilani to Craig.
And what's that asking for?
You got a half of tree.
And what is that referring to?
Believe that's marijuana.
Okay. And the instant message that y'all are referring to was, I believe Mr. Dean asked you about where it looks like, I guess they met at the ride share. What day was that again? I think it was October 1st, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
And does that seem to be when there was some sort of activity between the two of them?
Yes.
And on I think it's the last page, but I'm not mistaken. All right, here we go. Looks like number 143 at the top of the last page. Who is that from and who is that to?
That is from Leilani to Craig.
And what's that saying on October 2nd?
About to head over there and grab his ass a 40 so he'll shut up.
And that's to Craig, correct?
Yes.
All right. And on October 3rd at 3:30, who was that from and who was that to?
Which line?
Number 147.
That one is from Leilani to Craig.
And what does that one say?
Just sent 30, Danny coming in for it.
That's all the questions I have with regard to this exhibit, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Hilliard. Can you redirect?
So, she's not just sleeping with him, he's also involved in supplying her drugs?
Correct.
Isn't that exactly what we've been saying?
Yes.
We've talked about a number of meetups that you can clearly see in these text messages and how long they seem to have lasted, right?
Yes.
On the night of October 4th, the night that we're concerned with your, was there any text message set up?
No.
Was there any text message communications with them at all?
No.
Between them at all, I should say?
No.
And how long did the GPS data establish that she was there for?
10 minutes.
And how does that relate and link to the previous visits that we've talked about?
I think the shortest one is 45 for their meetups.
So much, much shorter.
Yes.
No further questions? No further questions.
Thank you. Mr. Lemmons, you may take your seat once again.